Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of our /malicious compliance. In today's episode, owner of a restaurant wanted me to spy and tell them what was wrong with the restaurant, so I did. I refused to make the CEO a coffee, so now they're left with a broken system. Do not keep things on your desk if even you don't know what they are. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Owner of a restaurant wanted me to spy and tell them what was wrong with the restaurant, so I did. Not a super juicy one, but I wanted to write it out nonetheless. I've never been a manager before, but I have my bachelor's degree in management. I just started at a new restaurant. I've come from several corporate companies, but this place was a second store of a mom and pop company. I've always been a server, but I was hired as a bartender, important for later. In the interview, the two owners tell me that they're looking to make the place more professional and turn some things around. Get hired on the spot to come in the next day. I come in, no one knows anything. I'm not on the schedule, my trainer is late, there isn't a manager, and the owners are nowhere to be found. When I actually start working, I'm just thrown in, expected to make drinks, take orders, know the kitchen, everything. No biggie, I jump in and do what I gotta do. Some highlights: the staff are drinking alcoholic drinks on the job, not measuring any liquor, giving out free drinks, not checking IDs, and close the restaurant 2 hours early, etc. The next day, the only server scheduled for dinner shift is running late. The morning server asks me to fill in until he gets there, so I end up just covering the entire floor, about 10 tables, by myself on my second day in training. The owners tell me, over the phone, how awesome I am for jumping in and covering this, and I'm exactly what they need to fix the restaurant. On day 3, they call me into the office to check in and see how everything is going. I tell them that I'm confused and I need recipes for the drinks, since only one bartender knows any recipes. They ask me what I've noticed is wrong and tell them what the other bartenders are doing that's not supposed to happen. I tell them honestly about the lack of controls, the lack of recipe cards, and the closing early. They blame it all on the bartenders and thank me. Tell me that I need to keep an eye out and stay in touch with what's going wrong in the bar. Cue malicious compliance. I tell them straight up that the problem is the lack of management. That if they want recipe cards, training procedures, or drink standards, that they either need to do it themselves or pay a bartender manager wages to do it. That it isn't the bartender's fault that these things are wrong, and they needed to step up. After a long, unproductive, unprofessional conversation, the owner told me to get out of his restaurant right now and never come back. So I did. And I took the other 2 bartenders on shift with me, leaving them with no one in the restaurant to serve. They wanted to tell me that I'm too ignorant about running a restaurant, but they get to figure out how to run their own restaurant now. I refused to make the CEO a coffee, so now they're left with a broken system. Hi gang. I've become a little hesitant with reposting some of my stories, but this one kinda blew up elsewhere, and many people suggested I should post it here too because it would be a nice fit. So here you go. I edited a few parts to emphasize on the issue. While there is most likely going to be an update later elsewhere, the deed itself is most definitely done, no going back on this one. Backstory. I'm a retired IT guy who still kept tabs with his old workplace, simply because I really enjoyed working there and there was a solid mutual respect between the owners and the staff. So I basically told them that while I am retired I wouldn't mind lending a helping hand every once in a while should the need arise. However, don't overdo it. This year has turned into a weird year so far, but I can fully understand why they were having some issues, especially in this particular case. An ancient inventory system. Wednesday evening I finally got home with enough free time to try the recently released update for GTA 5, and just as I was being called in-game my real cell phone also goes off. It's my former boss who was very apologetic, but they had a major issue. One of their, more specific, clients called out for help because their automated inventory system had stopped working. They could cope, it wasn't an immediate emergency, but this was still a major problem because this was costing them big money. The main issue was that this particular client was still mostly using Windows XP. And we're still using our older automated inventory system which was co-developed by yours truly. In Java. Using NetBeans as the main interface. For those who don't want to read too many details, skip the next part until the next header and just keep in mind that in computer terms, this was ancient history at work. My company had already moved on towards other solutions. For the geeks amongst us. NetBeans was /is, a very impressive IDE which stands for Integrated Development Environment, meaning that you can use the program to develop software. NetBeans is an environment fully dedicated to Java development. The cool part was that NetBeans wasn't just an IDE, it was also a platform which you could use to build your own applications on. See, building a functional piece of software is one thing, building the interface to help the users to actually use all this, that's another thing and more than often worthy of a study in itself. Considering that our software was going to be built on Java, the choice was simple. Also considering that NetBeans was an open source project, so we were free to pick up on the code base, even for commercial usage. In the meantime the whole thing has been ported towards ASP.NET, which basically means that we have client software, developed in C#, which is in constant contact with a server component where all the actual data is stored, powered by ASP.NET. This is provided in two options. If you already have an internal Windows server which also uses the Microsoft IIS web server/platform, then our software can easily be deployed on that. However, if you don't have a Windows server or don't want to address those costs, then we also have a FreeBSD solution, powered by the Mono project. Mono is an open source project fully catered to providing ASP.NET solutions without all the added costs for a Windows server, or optional IIS license. Unrelated to the story, but I had to share, not to show off, but, even today this makes me so proud, my former bosses, the owners of the consultancy firm, were former IT heads/geeks themselves, and they realized all too well what amounts of work we'd be saving up on by using the NetBeans infrastructure. The licenses were studied, and when everything cleared and the prototype turned into a huge success, my former company made a huge donation to the NetBeans project. Made me so darn proud to be working there. These guys recognize effort, which is one of the reasons why I still kept in touch with that place. Houston, we have a problem. One of our oldest clients were still using Windows XP because they reasoned that. Why spend so much money on upgrades when everything works just fine? Eventually my former work stopped supporting the Java version, but because everything still worked. For the non-geeks amongst us, Windows XP EOL'd around 2014, see this link. And it's 2022 now at the time of writing. So the client called my former company because their main inventory server, running Windows XP, stopped working, and they were somewhat desperate because all their usual hardware providers told them, upgrade to Windows 10, but that left them with the main question, will this software still work? Just for the record, they got multiple offers to help with the transition from us in the past. Rumor has it that at one time my former bosses offered them an insane discount, equals it would have cost them money, just to make sure things went smoothly. But it still works. Nah, that's not needed. The problem at hand? That NetBeans solution is ancient. We're talking back in the days before Apache took over that project. I just Googled for it, but this seems like a good source of info. And all the original developers who worked on that project had long left the company. The only person they still had in their sights was me. As such, I got contacted and was asked if I would be willing to go over there and see what could be done. See, even if they did upgrade things, it still left a huge issue: extracting all the customized functionality out of the Java software and then port/rewrite that to be used with the web interface. Make me some coffee, you. Nope. So Friday comes around, I dress up in a suit and head over there to see what I can do to identify and maybe fix the problem. I arrive around 1300 hours, no way in heck that I am going to give up my morning sleep over this, and I am greeted by the manager. We talk a bit about the whole situation and he explains to me that the main issue is that the XP server doesn't seem capable to contact anything else on the network anymore. I get to work and see that the computer itself is still working, but it would seem that the network card has finally given out. This is a bit of an issue because modern cards don't provide Windows XP support, nor would they even fit anymore. The good part, however, is that we can still extract data from all this, and while I am looking over the small office, an idea dawns on me. Because I still had some more research and work to do, I figured I'd put in my earbuds and ask Bixby, Samsung's personal digital assistant on my phone, to call my office, all the while making sure that I had my phone on full display out in the open so that it would be obvious to anyone that I was on call, and not going insane talking to myself, winky face. It got even a bit funny when one of the friendly secretaries asked me if I wanted something to drink. So then I had to backswitch a bit and try not to laugh when my colleague asked me in the background to tell her that he wouldn't mind a coffee himself. My plan was simple: extract all the customized macros we had made, and then maybe we could port all that onto one of our company servers, allowing the client to use the whole platform through a web interface. The main concern would be to move the database, but we've been using PostgreSQL from the get-go, so I didn't see much issues there. Leaving only the translation of the macros and some custom Java code toward C#. Sure, this would involve costs, but maybe we could sell this idea by allowing more people to access the interface. In the current situation, this was limited, a strict client-server setup. So here I was, in front of a somewhat disassembled computer, earbuds in and talking back and forth while my phone was lying on the table next to me. Context: I am the only one wearing a suit around here, and I cannot help be certain that this is what started the whole thing. My talk with the boss had just ended and I decided I'd keep my buds in for now, also because I had a radio app still open on my phone which responded the moment I touched my right butt. Boney M. Note: I did make sure not to overdo it, it was background music at best, I could hear everything around me. The entitled CEO. Next moment, someone also wearing a suit enters the room and he's immediately greeted by the manager, who also showed me around. It was also at this time when I found an USB stick which actually worked on this PC. Great! That will help to make a most recent backup, so I fire up Command-exe and make sure the database is shut down. Once I'm sure, I start a copy process on the same command line environment. Then I suddenly hear it: EYU, support guy, get me a coffee. I look up and see the guy, who looked to be in his 30s, look at me with expectation. The manager, immediately seeming to realize what is going on, responds, "I'll get you a coffee right away, sir," but he's stopped. "No, I want him to do it," the guy goes. "Sorry, can't help you. I'm busy and don't work here," I respond. "What?" I said, "Get me a coffee, now," the guy retorts with an obvious smug look on his face. It was then when I knew this was not going to end well, winky face. And know what? I couldn't care less either. Not my job, why not get it yourself, I respond while also starting to round a few things up. I was definitely going to push this, but I wasn't going to blow up the whole project over it either. As I expected, I am your boss. When I say that I want you to make me a coffee, you make me a coffee, understand? The idiot even slapped the table to get his point across. Okay then, game on, you're not my boss, so get your own coffee, I tell him while also giving more priority to the command exe process in order to, hopefully, speed up the copy process a bit. The guy obviously did not appreciate someone talking back to him like this. The manager tried to intervene, but after a bit more talking back and forth I was told, I am the boss around here, you stupid idiot, either get me my coffee or piss off and get the F out of my company. All translated from Dutch, but the F was definitely a thing here. So I decided to comply, not bothering to explain myself any further and just follow orders. Suits me just fine, can I get your signature on that? That you demand me to leave, I ask while handing out my worksheet paper, and for sure, FNG idiot, he tells me when signing. I immediately secured the document and packed up my stuff. Thank you, good luck with your broken inventory system and have a great weekend, I tell him while I put on my coat. Wait, what? He goes. It's what I've been trying to explain, the manager goes, he's the contractor who was fixing our inventory system. The company told me he's the only one who still knows. The door to the office room closes and that was all I heard. I get onto the elevator and much to my surprise I'm met with a red, out-of-breath, CEO who is looking very apologetic as soon as I exit. The moment I see him I tell him, you'll have to make a new appointment. He starts down talking the whole thing without even bothering to say the magic word. Seriously, had he apologized then and there, but nope. So I reach the exit, turn around to face him and tell him once again, sorry, this idiot is going to do exactly what you wanted me to do. Not my problem that you're too stupid to make your own coffee, and with that I left. Outside I immediately called the boss who was in full support of my actions. I was a bit worried about that part to be honest, and he agreed, they can make a new appointment. This is going to be interesting because, the only day I can make this work is Friday next week. No way in heck that I am going to give up my weekend, and I have more important stuff to do next week, all already planned out. Small update. So this one exploded too, eh? Whoa, thanks for all the feedback and awards you guys, very much appreciated. Also, since so many of you are asking for updates here too, assuming there is going to be one, it'll be posted on the IDWHL channel, because although I have no idea what's going to happen next, I'm not too sure it'll involve any malicious compliance. It's also the channel where I first posted this story. If the name of the channel doesn't ring a bell, you'll be able to find it in my post history. Do not keep things on your desk if even you don't know what they are. Long-time lurker. First post. Sorry, kinda long. Back about 8 to 10 years, I was in an automation and controls position within the maintenance department. We were basically in charge of making sure launch equipment was up to our standards, modifying current fixture, PLC/vision programming, etc., etc. So, we always had crap on our desks. Parts, pieces, and yes, even some junk. One day, upper management comes through and completely eviscerates the entire maintenance department for how it looks. Now keep in mind, this maintenance area looks better than 90% of the places I've been through, and I've seen a lot. The other part is that yes, we have crap sitting around, but it's because you don't just throw a 12K lb fixture up on a table. We kept as clean as possible is what I'm saying. Our group had a separate weekly meeting with the manager outside of the normal maintenance meeting. This week, we could tell the big guy was uncomfortable. There are 4 of us in my group. Myself and Tim, alias, are considered the 2 heads of the team. He admittedly is a better PLC programmer, but I'm a trained machinist too, so we could do some pretty cool stuff. Anyway, the boss starts out by bringing up the audit, how terrible we did and what management thinks we need to do better. Same speech we got at the full mate meeting. He then specifically singles Tim and myself out, or I suppose management did. He proceeds to tell us that our desks need to have nothing more than our personal property, laptops, in repair, items we need to research, and new items that are part of a project that has a work order. We were actually told management was so upset we needed to double our 5S score by next month or it may affect our raise. He ends by saying, I bet you don't know what half that sh*t on your desk is. I do, and if you don't, no one else does. You need to get rid of every last thing on your desks that is not part of projects you're working on. Everything up there should have a work order. Understood. We wiped everything. Test boards, HMIs, servos, drives, one-off details, everything. Most of this stuff, we would fix in our spare time while we were bored, but also, keep in mind launch engineers are constantly dropping things on our desks so, we can try it out. So, Monday everyone can tell we're irked. Still did our job, but if you want by the book, you got it. The next morning Tim comes in and there's brand new key and safety scanner sitting on his desk. He looks at his computer then asks me, you doing a safety scanner? It's nothing I knew of, so say, no. He chucks it in the trash. Says, no work order, no idea what it is. They said it goes. I followed suit and we did that with everything we didn't know about for about a week before the first question hit. Did you get a chance to mess with that scanner? Tim, scanner. Safety scanner I set on your desk. Tim, oh, hey. S10 Calade, I figured out the scanner. Yeah, sorry but it went in the trash. Management said we can't keep anything that doesn't have a work order and I didn't know anything about it. I don't know exactly how things went down from there. We were rewarded with private project cabinets so our desks could stay clean. I never once dropped anything off without us knowing again. My boss quit talking to us for 6 months. It really seems like an overall win. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.